When you look around the Great Lakes, it seems water is everywhere. But for many households in the region, water is getting more expensive and less affordable. Brett Walton, a reporter for Circle of Blue, has done extensive reporting on water affordability in Southeast Michigan.
Water affordability wasn't a big issue until about 2 decades ago. And that's because for the longest time, water was relatively cheap. But in the last couple of decades, we've seen the price of water going up faster than almost any household good.
Over the past 4 decades, the cost of telephone service, natural gas, and electricity have all gone up. And so has the Consumer Price Index. But the rise in water prices outpaces them all.
Comparatively, it's still cheaper than electricity or some other things, but it's going up faster than others. And that's because the infrastructure we put into the ground 50, 100 years ago is aging out. It's gotten to the point where it's at the end of its life and it needs to be replaced. And that is expensive infrastructure.
A report from the University of Michigan published last year found that between 1980 and 2018, average water prices across the state of Michigan nearly doubled when adjusted for inflation. In some cities, the increase was even larger. Low-income households were hit the hardest. Oakland County is one of the wealthiest counties in Michigan, but many county residents struggle to pay their water bills. Jim Nash is Oakland County's Water Resources Commissioner.
Royal Oak Township is probably our poorest community in the county, and it actually has some of the highest water bills. Theirs is over $100 a month on average. So there is significant issues in that community.
Nash estimates that about 55% of households in Royal Oak Township spend more than 4% of their income on water and sewer services.
Water is unaffordable to them. Pontiac, it's about 35%.
Oakland County is working on a state-funded water affordability plan for both Pontiac and Royal Oak Township. They're hoping it'll become a blueprint that other communities can adapt to their own systems. The plan has 2 parts. One, to assist those who find the average bill to be a financial burden, and the second, to help those in emergency situations like job loss or unexpected medical expenses.
When it comes to people who have just chronic inability to pay, what we want to do is have kind of a graded billing system where if you're the very poorest folks, half the poverty rate would only pay like $30 or $35 a month. In Pontiac, it's about $85 a month, or $85 is the average bill. So this would dramatically lower that bill. 50 to 100% of poverty would be maybe $45 a month, and we're developing this, so we're not fixed yet. But that's the kind of thing we're doing. We want to have levels of service for folks who have real significant issues paying.
The county's plan will also address people whose water bill jumps unexpectedly because of a leak or an undetected plumbing issue.
The next bill is $1,000 instead of $80. We want to be able to come in and once they've shown that they've fixed the leak, then we can maybe give them credit for that water. Right now, we only give them the wholesale cost of the water. So they save some, but not a whole bunch. So we're trying to set up a system we can do that. And then people who have issues, who have medical or health issues or car accidents, find a way of local assistance that the local community can help with that. A community foundation, things like that. So we want to work with those folks.
Outdated plumbing is a real issue. Something as simple as a dripping hose spigot or a toilet that won't stop running can lead to shockingly high bills. Water affordability is an even bigger problem just south of Oakland County in Wayne County, the most populated county in Michigan, which includes the city of Detroit. Megan Wilk is with the Wayne Metropolitan Community Action Agency.
A lot of times, the residents that come in have just really large bills from a small leak or something existing with their plumbing. Maybe they're in an old home and the plumbing's just deteriorating and they don't have the money to make the fixes. So the bill just continues to get higher each month. They get late fees tacked onto that.
Megan showed us a bill from one of her clients. The total due was staggering, close to $15,000.
Looking at the bill right now, the usage is very low. It's below average for a single person living in the home. So it tells me right now they probably don't have any leaks. But at one point there was probably a leak or something big structurally that was going on to make the bill go up this high. This is just something that you're not really gonna recover from. Like you're stuck with this bill, for years, and paying your current charges. If you're already struggling to pay your current charges for the month, and then you have this past due balance of $15,000 that you have to take care of, even enrolling in a payment plan arrangement, it's still gonna be unaffordable for you.
When water's unaffordable and people don't pay their bill, miss their payment, the worst case scenario is that your water gets shut off. And that happens all too frequently in cities. Not everyone shuts water off for non-payment, but most do, in order to compel residents to pay for service. So when your water is unaffordable, you get things like in Detroit, in 2011 through 2020, where there were massive water shutoffs, tens of thousands of people losing access to water, and then spiraling into community problems, health problems, social problems, potential for children to be taken away through CPS. So it is a very real, very severe community crisis.
To address health concerns during the pandemic, the U.S. government created the Low-Income Households Water Assistance Program and appropriated $1.1 billion to fund it. Michigan's share was $36.2 million, but it's estimated that Michigan households owe around $252 million in unpaid water bills, so the federal money is just a drop in the bucket. According to Commissioner Nash, there will be no long-term solution to the problem of water affordability without greater state and federal assistance.
We want to have local water systems do as much as they can, but the state and federal should be helping us do that because they're the ones that should be guaranteeing the rights of Americans. And that's how I see that. And what we do, that's why we're pushing legislation in Lansing to have them set up a program for helping local communities do this. And I think that's going to be our long-term answer, is getting this recognized as a human right and the state and federal governments involved in guaranteeing those rights. That's the most important thing we can do. We can't just put all the burden on the local ratepayers. It just can't work in the long term. It's not sustainable.